Well, just a quick interim update. It rained so much yesterday and in the night that they cancelled school today. It rained 6 centimetres overnight. So luckily not much came into the house. And well, yeah, it's just wet outside, but it's sort of stopped play for the moment. This is still drying up nicely. Obviously a little bit slower, but the beams look fabulous. They're completely dry and they look great. So today is going to be a tidy up in the house day because it's going to rain again. It's sort of drizzling a bit now, but it will start raining properly again this afternoon. So there's no point trying to go down to the tip or anything or filling up the trailer. So I'll just clean up the kitchen and do some washing, probably go to the supermarket, and check back in tomorrow morning. Driving back from the supermarket in the old trusty, and this noise you can hear is water. Now this is normally where we go and swim and muck about in summer, but the 6 centimetres of rain that came down this morning have turned it into a full-on torrent. Let me turn the camera around for you. Good morning and welcome back. It's not raining. It rained a huge amount yesterday. I mean, like a ridiculous amount. As you can see, the rivers and stuff, everything got very excited. But in here, things have dried out. That's still washing up liquid. And at the end, I will obviously wash down the floor properly. But what I'm going to do now, and it was a little optimistic of me to put the rubbish chute away, is I'm going to get the rubbish chute back out, and I'm going to set it up on the window again, and I'm going to get rid of this pile of toot here in the corner, which needs to go, and the bricks that I don't need out of there, pick up some stuff from the neighbour that he's asked me to get rid of, and drive it down to the tip. That's the plan for this morning. So I'm going to get straight into it. First things first, I'll get the rubbish chute set up. Oh yes, look. They've gone much lighter, completely dry. So far no mould, no nothing. And I think they look great. I spent an hour this morning researching what to put on the walls, because I spoke to some local builders. This obviously is quite common here, and because there's no smell of smoke. I mean, it hasn't been used as a smoking room for 40 years, and it's always been ventilated. We don't need to worry about that too much. Also, I'm going to double the walls. So he said there's like a little bottle of product, which is like a sealant, and you add that to a pot of undercoat and then spray it on. So undercoat basically straight onto the walls as they are, and because it's acrylic glue based, it'll just stick everything together and you won't have any problems. So the walls are drying, or in fact the walls are dry. They're dirty. I'd need to brush them down everywhere once, and then I would spray that over everything over the top. So maybe we'll get that done in a couple of days, and that would be very interesting because that's going to be white. And I'm a bit cautious because spraying white paint onto stones is sort of, it's not irreversible, but it's irreversible-ish. But then again, well, the walls here aren't that great. You know, I had to build up there. This is an old piece of railway. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. Let me get the trailer set up and the rubbish chute. I loaded up and then had to reverse the trailer in here. So I'm now suffering from smoky clutch syndrome, which stinks a bit, but the clutch, this isn't the first time it's gone smoky. So there we go. Let's just hope it doesn't catch fire. It won't. Clutches never do. But they stink, and that stinks. But we're in. It is a pain reversing in there, to be honest. But it's in. I got some stuff from the neighbour. I'm going to hook up my chute, and then good to go. It's full. The room is empty. I'll show you when I get back. But I need to shoot down now before they close for lunch. I got the this on to stop stuff blowing away. I also want to get a move on before it starts raining again. The scrap iron man's just been too. So other than a few bits of wood, that room's pretty empty. So let's head down and get on with it. Well, just in time. It looks really like it's about to come sheeting down again. It's pretty miserable actually. But there we go. Gone. It was a very heavy load. So there's still some wood. All the metal's gone. Well, all the metal I didn't want. There are one or two things back here that the Cooperativa would like to have for down at the bottom to put on display. So yeah, it's time for yet another sweep up. I got a proper broom handle while I was in town as well. So I'm going to do just kind of sweep along the walls once more, and then sweep up everything on the floor, get rid of the wood. And then, well, we'll see what the next phase is. Okay, well, that's it. I'm completely swept up. Pretty rough in bits. Well, that looks like that's just cement there. I'm going to have a look at that. So now it looks better on the bit that I mucked about with. Still, I'd be easy enough to replace a stone or two there, and in fact probably bring the two sides even more together. But I think it looks great. Yeah, that's it. I'm going to go have some lunch. I'm going to come back and tidy some more, some tidying. And I'm going to go and find out more about this magical undercoat. And if I want to paint, just mask off the doors, the windows, the beams, and the bottom of the bits of the ceiling, of the roof, not of the ceiling, although they don't really make that much difference. I just paint everything with my sprayer, with this undercoat that'll seal it, but let the wall breathe, apparently. It would certainly instantly change the look and feel of the room, and it probably wouldn't take too long with my sprayer. So, yeah, as I mentioned, the only problem I have is if I paint these stones, then to get them back to stone, if I want to do that one day, I'll have to sandblast them. But because they're black, to get them back to stone one day, I'll have to sandblast them anyway. So there we go. So I think I might seal it, and then we'll see if I then plaster the walls, which is very unlikely, or if I double the walls with plasterboard, aeration, and insulation, which I think is the preferred scenario at the moment. The followers of the channel have sent me this, which is a very nifty thermal camera plug-in. Comes in a lovely case, pops in the bottom of the iPhone, and then you can see like a heat map, picture or video, like this. So it let me know how much heat we're losing out of the windows in the living room that I haven't changed the glass on, compared to the bedrooms that have got 4mm glass. And in fact, if you see when the shutters are closed, hardly lose any heat at all. So thank you very much for this. You'll see it pop up every once in a while as soon as I finish a room or need to insulate something. Or if I'm worried about some wiring as well, you can sort of look at the wiring and see if it's heated up. And as well as sending me this for free, it's not sponsored, but it's just a freebie. She also sent me a voucher code, which is at the bottom in the description. Okay, well, good morning. Another day. The room is now completely free of soot. And I've been to the DIY store and they've given me some primer for the walls. And the guy seemed convinced that this would block odour and stick everything to the walls. So stop, stuff coming off, because I'm going to double the walls. There's no point. And I was initially concerned about painting straight onto stone rather. But if I was ever going to have these stones, I'd have to sandblast them. And then it doesn't make any difference if they're painted or not, if they're going to be sandblasted. And obviously all of this plaster would have to come off. So that's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen now is I'm going to mask up all of the beams with plastic. I'm going to mask up the doors and the windows and the roof, the inside of the roof. And then I'm going to get the floor covered, get the spray painter out, and I'm going to paint everything with this sealant. There's very little odour here, but this stuff will over time not much actually comes off, my hand doesn't go black or anything, but there will be dust and stuff that will accumulate. And because I'm going to build partition walls, basically build a room inside the room with aeration space so that nothing goes mouldy, and they'll air out nicely out behind with a grill sort of out onto the roof. What I don't want is those spaces to fill up with dust and stuff over time. And I don't know if it's hard to tell if there's a smell in here because everything's always open, but this should fix that. So that's the plan. I'm going to go and get all of my underlay and plastic and everything else and set all of that up. And then we'll cut back in, I think, when I've got my sprayer all set up and ready to go. Well, as you can see, I've got the underlay down. I've got most of the roof done. I still have to do that beam, but the central beam is done. So yeah, I have this little area to do now. I've got that window, I need to do the doors, and that window, and then all of these beams. So it's still probably another hour and a half prep, and it always is a lot of prep with the sprayer, but I've sprayed the house, I've sprayed all of the rooms with it. It works so well, and especially on a rough surface like this, it'll just go down perfectly. So yeah, there we go. I'm just going to keep going, cut another bit. I'm sort of cutting off bits and then stapling them up with a little toy staple gun, because that seems to be the easiest way to do it, rather than getting a roll, because it's folded, the plastic is folded, so it'd be quite a lot more complicated to do it the other way around. So there we go. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep going. Okay, so it's starting to look like a prank off the office. Everything wraps up. That one up there was a bit of a pain, but it's done, it's pretty good. So I've only got, this is just like everything else, denailing and what have you. So I've only got these 3 beams left, and then the doors and windows. But it'll probably be lunchtime, and I might go and have a quick lunch, and then finish up with the actual painting after lunch. But I do want to get the prep work done before lunch. So there we go. It's not much fun. It's certainly not very exciting to watch. But thankfully this time I did have enough plastic, and I've got enough of everything, so we shouldn't be too bad. Okay, there we go. Everything is now wrapped and ready. So I'm going to go and have some lunch. Fortunately, the wind is just picking up now, which is typical. So I'm going to close this door. I don't want it to pull any of the stuff off again. That should calm it down a little bit. And then, as soon as I've... Oops, everything's gone out of focus except my hand. There we go. As soon as I've had my lunch, I shall go and lay these out again, get rid of the ladder, and then it's plug and play. I've got everything ready for the clean up afterwards, because that's always what takes the most time. But we're pretty good. Now I'm just excited to see what it's all going to look like when everything's white. I imagine it's going to look a whole lot bigger. And then it'll be proper planning. So, I'll see you after lunch. Okay, well, as you can see, it's a bit more like whitewash than anything else, but it's quite sticky, and I have put a lot on, so it lightens up, and it's sticking everything to the wall. But I think it's going to need a few coats, and it's not the miracle solution. If you see immediately after the first coat, it sort of goes yellow. It's seeping through. So I have to let it dry, and then maybe add another coat. But it's basically just acrylic paint. I don't know what the guy was trying to sell me, but he said this is the stuff. It's called tempera. And I was surprised at how cheap it was. He said, no, this is what we just treat the walls with before plastering or doubling or doing whatever else. So I took his word for it. Anyway, I'm going to keep going anyway. So I've done about half now. And I finished my first bucket of paint. So I'm just going to get the second bucket of paint. And then I've done half. Yeah, I've done more than half. I've done a bit more than half. So we should just get away with the paint. And then if I have some left over, I'll do a quick second because, you know, it dries super quickly, this anything that comes out of the gun. And then we'll see. But what it does do immediately is lighten up the room quite amazingly. So there we go. Yeah, I'm going to go and get the second bucket. I don't want it to dry in the pipe because that always creates a pain. Not easy to film it. It's in a plastic bag and on this sort of clip thing. So I'll film as much as I can. Okay, so I've used all of my paint and I tried to time lapse, but unfortunately I ran out of memory. So what's the result? Well, it's definitely whiter than it was. I've tried lots of different methods, very, very thick coats, but the yellow comes through, obviously still from the moisture. Some thinner coats on the plaster, it's gone down quite well. But in fact, it's basically just gone down like very cheap paint. And it was very cheap. I'm not sure what super tempera is, but it's not really what I wanted to put down. I'm going to leave it to dry, and then we'll come back and have a touch and a smell. I mean, if you get your nose right up to the wall, you did used to be able to smell a little bit of smoke. So we'll see when this is dry tomorrow morning how it looks and how it smells. But I think if I did another coat everywhere when it's properly dry, perhaps with some slightly more expensive just acrylic paint, because I think that's all it is really. So it's, you know, acrylic paint is only glue and water and a bit of colour. Then we'll be okay. I mean, it has sealed, obviously, the walls, and it's just like whitewash. It's exactly what they would have done 100 years ago. So, yeah. So there we go. I had to clean the machine immediately afterwards, so you can see it's already starting to dry in places. But yeah, this is now obviously here very yellow because that's where it was blackest. Where I put huge thick globs of paint on, not quite so yellow. See down there I did last sort of. The plaster, some of the watermarks have come through, which they do every time I try cheap paint. So yeah, there we go. I'm not going to undo any of the plastic yet, except on that one window, but that was only, you know, a couple of seconds, and that'll help it to dry. Yeah. Well, there we go. That was my job for today, and that's done. So give it tomorrow, see how it looks, see how it feels, and then maybe buy another pot of maybe slightly better paint. It doesn't need to be white, but I somehow in my little brain, I'm thinking if this is seeping through, this is just basically because the paint was wet, I imagine. So it's sort of drawn some of the colour out of it. Then it hasn't fixed as well as it could have done. So, I mean, none of this moves. All of this is like hard as stone. That's why it would have been a mechanical job to get rid of it, but then I have to sort of joint the stones and what have you. So there we go. It's not the miracle, but it doesn't look bad, and in fact the room does feel quite a lot bigger. I'm going to turn the camera around, put it on wide angle, and just show you once round before I knock off for today. Okay, well, I've been and had some lunch, and it has dried a little bit, but it's far from dry. What it is, though, in this room now, there's no additional light, and it is much lighter. That's my lunch, which is good because that gives an impression, and I think it'll seal the walls quite well. So we'll decide what to do with that. Next thing that I need to really think about now is planning the kitchen and deciding on the layout. So if any of you have ideas for this, then send me an email. I'm filthy. I'm really filthy. Send me an email, or I think it'll be difficult in the comments. You know, do a screenshot out of the IKEA plan your kitchen or anything you like, and maybe 4 or 5 of those I'll put up in the next video, and then we can sort of go through the ideas, because I need to lay it out quite soon so I know where to put the water and the electricity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the measurements, and if you're interested in that, then hang on a second. So here at the far end of the room, we're about 370 wide. Then in this corner, there is, let me get my tape measure in. Oh, it's stuck. There we go. There is this door, and that is, hang on, about 65 centimeters from the corner, and it is about 70 centimeters wide. Then from that door, I can hook, there we go, down to the door which goes out to the hallway and the front door. We have 3 meters. This door is, come on, up. Hang on. This door, which is maybe 98 wide, and then another, oops, that was wet paint. God. Oh, you see this wall is not very straight, so don't plan too much in this corner, but obviously this is unlikely to be a bit of the kitchen. And that's, whatever it is, 65, 60 odd. Then we have this back wall here, for which I'm going to have 2 hands. Hang on. So at this end, well, it's 280, so it's about 295. The window starts at 155 and finishes at 250. Then we go around the corner, and last of all we have this wall here. The door comes in at about 58 to about 130, 138. The next door comes in at about 245 and finishes at about 346. The window comes in at about 380 and finishes at about 460. And the whole wall, my tape measures ran out of tape, hang on. 470 to there, 470 plus 77 is 547. So hopefully that's not too confusing. Those are the dimensions of the room. Otherwise just take it sort of as a more or less 3 by 5 ish. Is that 3? Was that 3? 370 by 5, and then we can sort of adapt it on the rectangular bit. I've always thought it would be quite nice to have sort of like a kitchen in the back. Let me zoom out. So a kitchen against the back wall and an island here with the sink and a hob, but I can be convinced of a great many other things. Well, on that note, I look forward to seeing suggestions, and if you haven't got the app or anything, just sort of put it in the comments, write down what you think. Thank you very much for watching. Again, thank you for coffee, thank you for t-shirts, thank you for everything. And that's going to be it. So we'll come back once this is completely dry, or maybe give it another coat. There's still a few days out here. So yeah, thank you for your comments. Thank you for watching. Thank you for participating. If you want to see more, then subscribe, and feel free to write me if you have any questions or anything you want to get off your chest. There we go. So we've done a bit, but it's not as white as I was hoping. I was sort of hoping, to be honest, that this would be a miracle product and everything would come up beautiful and white, and it didn't. It's just come up like cheap paint. There we go. Such is life. And bits of it have come up white, like down there. That's come up really well. It's weird, but it is what it is. So, I hope you're all well. Take care, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye-bye for now.